glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the day, like the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Va salud, good afternoon. Well, at least it's good afternoon where I am. Yes, it's just afternoon. For the rest of you, wherever you are, hope you are all doing well. Yes, it is Thankful Thursday, the day that I set aside to talk a little bit about what I am thankful for. And as I usually say on Thursday, which generally tends not to turn out to be the case, I don't think I have enough to say to fill up a full hour. We'll see how that goes. Let me start with the first thing that I am always thankful for in every stream, which is all of you. Starting with Big Al of Big Al Presents, who says, "Have a great show, my friends. Thankful for this wonderful community." See, that's exactly what I was saying. Someone else I am thankful for is my wife of 33 years, who's saying, "Hello, love of my life. I love you too, my dear." She says, "Like, share, subscribe, become a member, leave a comment." Yes, I would be thankful for all of those things. I would really, really appreciate it. Curtis Selby, I am thankful for Curtis Selby having me on his show yesterday. You guys that were here at the end of the show, I chauffeured you guys over there so that you could hang out with us. He did a wonderful little interview of me talking about my YouTube streaming journey, and I really appreciate that. I'm pretty sure I got a couple extra subscribers out of that, so I thank you very much for that. Of course, our friend ussarn is in the chat saying hi to everybody. Good to see you, my friend. And as he announces himself, my brother from another mother, Nate. Good to see you, my friend. Always thankful for you. ussarn is thankful for all three of his doges. Topaz, Sassy, and Senjakala. Good. I am so glad to hear that. Jonathan Conroy says, hail all, smash the like button, and enjoy the show. I would be thankful if you do enjoy the show. It's just barely noon where I am. Okay, so you are in Central Time Zone as well. Good to know. Hail to Connie Cleary, Birdwoman of YouTube, Fluff Chick Productions, one of the best blue wrenches out there. She spreads herself a little thin with all the channels she's taken care of, but she is much appreciated by all of us. It turned 12 less than 2 minutes ago. Yes. The clock that I'm looking at is a little fast. It's saying 12:06, but I know that means it's probably like 12:04, 12:03 or so. And I could look at the time on the lower corner of my monitor, but it's just too darn tiny and too far away for me to see. My camera is actually mounted on the monitor, so the monitor is, back, so the camera is where I want it to be. Way more information than you need, I'm sure. It was a lot of fun yesterday. I have another person lined up if I am off Wednesday, but I will wait to announce it when I am sure I am off. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you're always a little bit off. I fell asleep so early that I missed Geek Show. You mean Geeky Geezers on Sunday? I'm sorry to hear that, but that's okay. It's still up there on the repeat whenever you feel like watching. I'm also posting clips of the things I thought were important from Sunday as well. Editing your novella. Good. Looking forward to hearing more about that as you get closer to getting finished. Matanui. Salute, my friend. Everybody remember to share the stream. Like your kindergarten teacher told you to do. Yes, always share. Always share. One of the great things about sharing out videos is the people that you interact with on social media, whom I assume to be your friends, you let them know what you're watching. If you're friends with them, they're probably going to like some of the same things. Maybe they come check it out. And, we grow the community that way. Let's see here. I consider noon 11 to 2 because that's the noontime hour, right? Then it's afternoon when the sun isn't directly above anymore. Well, that's the thing, right? Noon, we imagine noon to be when the sun's directly overhead, but depending on the season, that's not how it works out. Instead of being overhead, it could be closer to the horizon. Depending on noon is usually directly overhead on the summer solstice. But any other time, it's getting closer and closer to the horizon in most parts of the world. Of course, if you're at the equator, noon, the sun is directly over your head all year round, right? And if you're close enough to the poles, you go for almost 6 months where you barely even see the sun. I'm so impressed that you got. I'm gonna now the pressure's on, and I'm gonna mispronounce it. Senjankala's name correct on the first try. Many people just say, who would name their dog that name? I don't know anything about the name. I'm assuming there's a story behind it, but I don't know if you named her after somebody or if that's a famous person in literature or something like that I don't know about. But you could always share that story with me. I wouldn't mind that. Time used to be a matter of the sun, moon, and stars. Now it's more mechanical, less fluid. construct in our culture. Um, in a way, you could describe time as fluid when you're using the sun, moon, and stars. But the sun, moon, and stars, although not easily divisible into measurable amounts of time, are very calculable. So they're very mechanical as well. It's just a much more complicated timepiece, the galaxy. So those are still reasonable ways of measuring time. But, you know, it depends how granular do you need to be, right? You know, when you're measuring something to build something, a bookshelf or something, especially if it needs to fit in a very exact spot, you need to be very granular in your measurements, right? When you're cooking, if you want to exactly replicate a recipe, you also have to be very committed. But if you're loosey-goosey, I don't care, a pinch of this, a dash of that, handful of that, you don't need to be so exact. Time can be the same way. I'm going to meet up with you this afternoon. That could be any time from noon till, I don't know, about 5 o'clock or so, right? I will be there at exactly noon. I don't have a great deal of time or a large window. If you're not there at noon, and I don't see you by noon 01, I'm going to leave, because we won't have enough time, you know. Just depends on the situation, I think. Mech po! Thankful to not have to be at the Dilithium Mines for 2 days. Well, enjoy your time off. You certainly deserve it. Yes, and glory to your house as well. I know you've been dealing with a lot. Mark and I, for those that don't know, head up the local Klingon fandom in the Chicagoland area. Not that there's much anymore. And now, especially since Evelyn Hampton passed, and so we're having to deal with all the club issues that she either oversaw or neglected. Let's be honest, and what we're going to do with the club. And I know Mark's been putting a lot of effort into that. So that kind of brings me to this quote that I ran across. Something to be thankful for is, and this may seem paradoxical until you really start to think about it, grieving something important because it mattered. So as Evelyn's health was failing, obviously, I actually shared 2 streams about her. One more broad and in general, as I was talking about friends that are local, that you get to see on a regular basis or a semi-regular basis, to be appreciative of them. Then I did a stream specifically about Evelyn herself and our history together. And now I'm getting general again, but using her as the touchstone. When you think about grief, you don't generally associate it with gratitude, but you should. The reason that we grieve is because we feel a loss of something we appreciated, right? Or someone. And I think anybody who has lost someone who's very close to them, especially if it's a family member, or in the case of someone like Evelyn, where you shared responsibilities in an organization and stuff like that, you realize when they're gone. Actually, this actually happens too. I bet Mark's co-workers are dealing with this over the next 2 days. He's away from work for 2 days. That means they realize how much he does and what's not getting done in his absence. So they should feel a great deal of appreciation for him. When I was watching, I don't remember whose video it was, talking about her relationship with her husband, and how you tend to, when you've been together for a long period of time, not necessarily in a bad way, but you do tend to take each other for granted. You fall into routines, and he'll do one thing and she'll do another thing, and you don't think much about that. And he had to go away for a week on a business trip, and it was like 2 days of him being gone, and she realized that the dog was really upset with her because she hadn't fed the dog. And she hadn't fed the dog because her husband always did it, and she never once thought about it. And she's like, oh my gosh. And she thought about all the things that she would gripe about that he didn't do, not being grateful for the things that he did do on a regular basis without her even realizing. And you don't notice them until they're not getting done, right? Mark and I are kind of dealing with the same thing with Evelyn, the administration of this club, and us deciding, are we even going to keep the club going now that she's gone? So grateful for all that she did in that regard. Real quick, I've seen some new faces jump in here. I want to express my gratitude for them, right? Starting with Leia Plus Size. Good to see you. So glad you're here. And Okie Wanderer. Welcome, welcome. Is that another name for Curtis Selby? Just wondering. I didn't know you had a third ID on YouTube. Not calling you out or anything. Just remember, when you hit that like button, you could do it 3 times if you have 3 different IDs. That is most of us. It is painful to say, but most of us take people for granted. It's not necessarily a bad thing. There's taking for granted and not being appreciative, and then taking someone for granted and doing so because of the comfort level you have with them. They are so much a part of your life and so much a part of your routine that you do take them for granted. You're setting yourself up for a great deal more pain when they're gone, though, because that whole you don't realize what you have till they're gone kind of a situation. But this is not just about the loved ones we've lost. I mean, another thing that got me thinking about this, of course, Evelyn has been on my mind. My brother died a couple of years ago, right at the holidays, and I hadn't even seen him in over a decade for family reasons that are beyond the scope of getting into today. And it really hurt because he died suddenly, if you understand what I'm saying. If you know, you know. And I realize how much of an impact he had on my life, how much his very existence helped to shape the person that I am and the person that I became, and decisions that I made in my life. Some really some of the best decisions of my life, though maybe the way I went about them was not necessarily the best. But I know that Netter was talking about the fact that yesterday would have been her father's, I want to say, 102nd birthday. He died many years ago. In fact, I never met the man. My late father-in-law was someone I never even met, but I have gratitude for him, because if not for him, I would not have the love of my life. So all that I know about the man is stories that Netter has shared from time to time, and that's all I know. But I think the most important thing is, well, he brought a woman into this world that was destined to be my wife. So that's something to be thankful for. But again, I wanted to pivot away from. It's not just when we lose loved ones and friends and people in our lives. Sometimes you could be grateful for people not being in your life anymore. If they have a toxic influence on you, if they are a bad influence, if they make your life worse by being around, maybe a coworker who just makes the work environment absolutely miserable, and they leave the company for whatever reason, you're like, oh, thank gosh. I remember when my parents were getting a divorce, and my father moved out. Within days of my father moving out, I was sitting and watching TV with my brother in front of the big TV in the living room. Picture, when I say big TV, I mean one of those big, big boxes, like you see in 70s TV shows. They're, really, really big, really deep, because they got the big tubes inside of them. And I'm like, I looked at my mom and I'm like, I could get used to this. Watching TV on the main TV, the big TV, in color. Because as long as my father was around, I couldn't watch that TV. I had to watch TV on a little, and this is about the size of the screen, little black and white TV in the kitchen. It would sit on the counter, and I would bring a stool up to the kitchen counter and watch my TV shows. That's how I would watch TV. And when my father was gone, I was like, man, this is nice. I could be in the family room with the family watching TV instead of, passing through the family room as my dad was watching the sports ball and he was the only one watching it. Yeah, Curtis says, I kind of miss the big box TVs. I'll tell you what, I kind of don't. I'm kind of glad we moved on from that technology, because I remember helping my mother move that thing every time she wanted to vacuum and dust behind it. Those things were effing heavy. Just ridiculous. Yeah, ex-spouses are that way. That's true. That's absolutely true. Ask Curtis Selby about that. He'll tell you about ex-spouses. I'm thankful for big TVs. Now, the big TV that I have, I don't remember how many inches this is. They say size doesn't matter. But it's huge, but it is literally all screen, right? It's about, it's that thin. It hangs on the wall, and I mean, that I could get behind. This is a much bigger screen than the big monstrosity that I was talking about from my childhood. So yeah, sometimes people, you can be grateful that they are, out of your life. If there's someone that enables you to, bad habits, a friend that got you into trouble in high school, maybe doing some substances that you shouldn't have been doing, maybe because they weren't legal, that influence not being in your life is probably something to be grateful for. And maybe being grateful for the lessons that you learned, even if they were negative lessons. Learn not to do that. Not to, because there are consequences to actions. So you can be grateful for the negative impact they had on your life if it leads to positive growth. Something else to be thankful for because it existed and you don't notice it until it's gone is sometimes health, right? So I've talked a couple times in the past couple weeks about having broken my foot and how obviously grateful I am that I'm on the mend, but the ordeal, minor in the grand scheme of things, but ordeal that I've been through between the pain, the limping around, the big moon boot that I was wearing, now this transitional surgical shoe that I'm wearing, have the loss of the freedom that I had before I broke my foot makes me grateful for going almost my whole life never having broken a bone, right? And the relative health that I've had. And so I can be grateful, too, that I see I'm on the mend, I am healing, I will get back to that point, maybe not taking my physical condition and health for granted. Hello, Boosh McFadden. Good to see you, my friend. I haven't seen you in a while. Loving the Wolverine look there. Looking sharp. And yo, Joe. Good to see you, my friend. Talking about today gratitude for the things that you've lost because those things were important and they mattered. And maybe you didn't appreciate them the way you should have when you had them. No, and thanks for the well wish on that, Boosh. But like I said, I am very close to full healing. Now that I'm wearing this boot, I don't know if I talked about this, right? I said I'd gone to the doctor on Monday. She switched me from this big moon boot to this little surgical shoe, and it's still a little clunky because it's got this extended portion in front of the toes, basically, so you can't bend your toes, you can't bend your foot when you're walking, so it's a little awkward, but I can go up and down the stairs so much better with this thing. My knee was starting to hurt because I was going up and down the stairs very awkwardly, in a way that really wasn't healthy for my knee, so the muscles were starting to hurt. That's much better. I can carry stuff up and down the stairs without being afraid I'm going to fall, ass over tea kettle. So lots of things to be grateful for in that particular regard. But yeah, I would love to know if there's other things that you've been thinking of as I've been talking about this, things that you're grateful for that you no longer have, that are missing from your life now. So when you look back on them, you look back on them in gratitude for them having been in your life. Why don't you think about that? Let me know in the chat, and we'll get back to those thoughts right after we see what's coming up this week. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together.
This week on Netters Network, we're celebrating a channel that just hit the milestone of YouTube monetization. We'll sit down and chat with Corey of Wilkie's Movies and Music and give you a chance to subscribe and maybe become a member. All this and more on Netters Network, Thursday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
This week on Saturday Night at the Movies, it's a special double feature. Sent on a quest to rescue a princess, 4 clueless players must guide their characters through dangerous forests, ancient ruins, and past the girl next door. It's The Gamers. Then, a Game & Geek takes his playing very seriously, unlike his babyish friends who'd rather be immature. He decides to shake things up by introducing 2 unconventional people to their group in The Gamers Dorkness Rising on Netters Network Retro Cinema. Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Papa Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it somewhere else, but Boomer and Pacelli put a spin on it you likely won't hear anywhere else. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
The Federation is rebuilding its empire at a breakneck speed, and the planet Helitrax is its latest conquest. Avon and the crew are intrigued. Just what is the Federation's new weapon? What has happened to Servalan? And how could the tenacious Helots have caved in so quickly? Could it be a traitor? This week on Last Call Presents Blake's 7, Tuesday at 10 p.m. Central.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
And I think I missed saying hi to, I saw Aged Boomer pop his head in here. Aged Boomer's got whiskey. He's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. That dream is named Sophie, the voice of my my bumpers. And she's literally a dream girl, isn't she? Samuel Procter is thankful for his ancestors and their sacrifices and the choices that led to my siblings and I to be born. Yeah, that's a great one. And here's the thing. There is nothing wrong with being thankful and taking pride in your ancestry. I don't care who you are or where you came from. You have a right to that. Don't let anyone say otherwise. You're not responsible for the sins of your ancestors, but you should absolutely be thankful they existed because you are valuable. And when people denigrate your ancestors, they're denigrating you. And they can go chase themselves, right? By the same token, I get upset when I hear people talk about toxic masculinity. Excuse me, I identify as masculine. And if you have a problem with that, if you think I am toxic, you can go fuck yourself. Yeah, I said it. And I'm not even censoring myself on that one. Hey, the Horror King. Good to see you, my friend. Always good to see you. Yeah, I'm tired of people trying to make me ashamed of my ancestry. I don't think anyone should be ashamed of their ancestors. Yes, two wrongs don't make a right. Don't tell me that somebody made you feel bad about your ancestry, so you think it's okay to retaliate in kind. You give up the high ground when you do that. You don't have a leg to stand on, you know? So, yeah, that's just how I feel. So turning our attention to the things that we are grieving over because we've lost them, yet being thankful that they existed in our lives. Honestly, speaking of Aged Boomer, this whole idea that it was really his idea in Geeky Geezers, we realized that if you're going to do anything talking about the news, you know, the news is always bad because, as the old journalism precept goes, if it bleeds, it leads. What sells newspaper? You know, sex and violence, right? And bad news always sells. The good news, you know, man saves puppy from, you know, traffic accident or something. That's not front page news. So if you're going to be doing even the geeky news, you're unfortunately always going to be talking about the negative things about entertainment. We try to search for things to be hopeful and optimistic about, but those are fewer and far between. So Boomer said, hey, let's introduce the good old days. We'll open up with because we're geezers, right? What do geezers do? They reminisce about the old times, tell stories. You know, it's the stereotype of the old geezer. Let's do that. And we'll share about games and movies and shows and toys and whatever from our childhood that maybe you don't remember, or if you do remember them, you've got a little nostalgia and want to reminisce with us about them. Things that you're grateful for, right? So in our grief, we should be thankful, you know, for the thing that we loved that maybe we've lost. So as we complain about the destruction of the cultural vandalism of our beloved franchises, Star Wars, Star Trek, the MCU, comics, the DC characters, Indiana Jones, all of these franchises that we loved that are now being perverted by people that don't care about them. They're effectively dead. You need to, and I've done this with Doctor Who, right? I've said my cutoff point, narratively speaking, my headcanon, as much as I liked Peter Capaldi, for a narrative endpoint, Doctor Who ends for me at Trenzalore. The Doctor died and did not get any new regenerations, and that's the end of Doctor Who. And I can appreciate and enjoy and be thankful for the 60 plus years of Doctor Who that we had before it died. And I grieve for it now, but I am still thankful for all those years leading up to Peter Capaldi. There's been mixed opinions about the different incarnations of Star Trek. Some people are purist. I only like the original series. I never took to the next gen. So I got 3 seasons of Star Trek and a couple movies, and that's it. 6 movies, and that's it. Okay. That's what you're thankful for. I personally found something to like in all of the incarnations of Star Trek up through Enterprise. I actually really liked Enterprise. The pacing was terrible. They spent way too long on a storyline that wasn't going anywhere. That they were trying to make this big epic, time war. And when they finally decided, okay, we got to trash this thing and move on, they made 2 mistakes. One, they waited too long to do it. And 2, when they finally did it, they did it in such a way that wiped away the continuity of everything they'd done. Sort of. They were incomplete and inconsistent in that. So it's like, not only did you waste 3 seasons on this storyline, but now you've completely erased that time, and it's a real waste, So, but I'm thankful that it existed. It filled in a lot of gaps in Star Trek lore for us. And although some of you might now unsubscribe to me because I'm about to say this, I like the theme song. I really did. Faith of the Heart was a song that was originally released. I don't know if it was a cover or who wrote it for sure, but I know that Rod Stewart recorded it for the soundtrack of Patch Adams. And I'm not sure who it was who sang it for Star Trek Enterprise. It should have been Scott Bakula, in my opinion, but it wasn't. And it was such a great song. And it was this whole idea that really got back to the original spirit of Star Trek. This hopeful exuberance for space exploration, that we had clearly lost ever since the moon landing. Okay, we got to the moon, we're done, and NASA just kind of started to atrophy. But anyway, just some things that I grieve about, but I'm still thankful for that they existed. I don't think there is anything more toxic than deciding that everyone else should think or say how to act within the bounds of the law, of course. Yeah. Right. I remember, and you could retroactively call it woke. It was definitely progressive. This idea, the line in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, where the little girl goes up to Hazim. Did God paint you? Most assuredly, little one. Why? Well, because Allah loves wondrous variety. It is the premise that our country was based upon, the great American melting pot, that like the inscription on the statue says, send us your wretched refuge, wishing to breathe free, seeking refuge. It used to be this idea that people of all different backgrounds would come to this country and take ownership in it and work to make it greater. And we as a country would be greater than the sum of our parts, right? Because everybody's diverse backgrounds brings a little bit of extra strength, right? Change of perspective, thinking outside the box mentality, or the spice of life, the foods that other cultures bring that you might not have otherwise experienced. That's true diversity, right? That is truly the spice of life. But that's not what it is when they say it now. They want you to believe they mean that kind of diversity, but they mean something very divisive when they talk about diversity now. They talk about, this country was founded on immigrants. Yes, they were. Immigrants who came to this country because they didn't have opportunities where they were. They see the opportunities here. They take advantage of them, and they make certain that they make the most of it and make sure that those advantages are there for the next generation. They don't come like leeches. They come to have a symbiotic relationship, not a parasitic relationship. There is a huge difference. Reading their journals and hearing the oral traditions of them from my grandparents makes them more than just a picture and a name. They're actual people living in what was then the present. Yeah. My grandmother used to talk about her mother who lived with her, in her old age. So my mother grew up with her grandmother living in the house. I never met her, but I've seen pictures of her. There's a picture of her on the grave, when I go visit the cemetery. I know a little bit about her. I've seen pictures. I saw a picture of her in my in the family album at my grandparents' wedding. So yeah. C.S. Lewis's great quote, "We are a son of Adam or a daughter of Eve. There is shame enough to crush the spirit of the greatest emperor, and pride enough to lift the head of the poorest beggar. Be content." That's so very true. That is so very true. There's a scripture that says there is nothing that has gripped you but what is common to man, right? Meaning that we don't have any struggles that someone else hasn't had in the past. And if they were able to live through it, you can absolutely live through it too. But by the same token, there is a rich history that we should be thankful for, both good and bad, right? We look at certain times in history, World War II, World War I, the Civil War, and the reasons for those wars. Terrible, terrible things. And yet, you can find reasons to be grateful in that too, right? The struggle to end slavery in the United States goes back to before the signing of the Declaration of Independence. There were elements in our government from the beginning that wanted to end slavery. We're declaring our independence. We should free slaves just as well as we free ourselves from England. the struggle of politics and stick-to-itiveness, can't give up the past, finally came to a head. So, yes, it was a terrible thing, but it should be a valued thing that happened to be a lesson to us today. Now, people want to hide that lesson. It offends them. It makes them uncomfortable, so they don't want you to talk about it. But if you don't learn from history, you will repeat it. You should be grateful for even the negative things so that you can learn from them and prevent them from happening again in the future. Let's see. And Horror King's sharing about a problem that he had over the past couple days with an SD card. Looks like he's making some progress. That's something to be thankful for. Good to hear it. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. He didn't die, he was murdered. If you want to put that finer point on it. Technically, that is dying. You know, not all deaths are murders, but all murders do result in a death. You know what is what I'm actually grateful that the Disney decanonized the old EU because of that. The great old canon was saved from turning SJW in the 2010s. True, but that hasn't prevented them from corrupting Grand Admiral Thrawn and turning him into a pot-bellied moron. You know, just saying, you know. Russell Watson, thank you. Thank you. I didn't know that name. There's no way I would have remembered that. I know I'd seen it before, but I just couldn't. Well, it's the destruction of language, isn't it? They are altering definitions in order to silence groups. That is right out of Saul Alinsky's playbook. Yeah. I don't agree with a single thing Jasmine Crockett says, but I'm going to keep listening because it's hilarious. Yeah, it's funny. I was watching last night's Bourbon with Barnes, and one of the board members said somebody, because of this whole redistricting thing and stuff, Crockett's probably going to end up out of Congress. How do we keep her in? Because she is the best recruiting tool for the GOP. It's a good way of looking at it, right? On my mom's side of the family, I'm second generation born in the U.S. I just recently was accused by a YouTuber of being an immigrant. I told him, by no means an immigrant. I have never had a legal or emotional tie or obligation to another country. Then the guy had a meltdown over how stupid I am. I explained the situation. And I never hear from him again. Yeah. You're stupid because I don't understand, right? They call that projection. The all men are created equal part is either an intentionally or unintentionally genius part snuck in. Because of that, it forced an obvious contradiction that put pressure on the institution. Yeah. It was light that lit the fuse. It burned and almost a century until it exploded into oblivion. Yeah, exactly right. Yes, of course, if you've ever read Orwell, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, war is peace, everything is upside down. Like I said, Rules for Radicals, Saul Alinsky. But yes, that is that is the crux of the... I want to say hi to Booger. Misunderstandings are due to society no longer understanding that words have meaning. And understanding that even if meanings do change over time, sometimes, yes, we were just talking about people intentionally changing the meaning or using a word in a way that it doesn't mean to make you think they mean something they don't mean. But it naturally happens progressively. The meanings of words and how they're used in context changes. So you have to be mindful of that when you look at words to understand what they meant when they said them, right? Otherwise, every use of the word gay would be offensive because it now means something different. No, that's not what it meant at the time. There was no thought that it meant that. If you are offended, that's your problem and your ignorance, not theirs. Right? Another word, queer. There was a children's book when I was a kid. Something queer is happening. All it ever meant was something weird, strange, different. And certainly to the gay community, they saw themselves as queer, different, strange, not like the norm, right? Outliers. So they described themselves as queer. But it over time, because it was becoming archaic to use, in the standard vernacular, it came to only mean gay people. But that's not what it meant historically. You need to understand context matters. The Constitution doesn't give government power, it gives people protection from the government. Yes, all power is vested in the people, and the people grant power to the government. The Constitution specifically limits government power. And okay. Newspeak, yes, exactly. Queer literally means something peculiar or strange. Stranger than strange, yes, exactly right. Exactly right. So there you go. That is the gratitude for Thankful Thursday. Being thankful for the things that we grieve over, the things that are missing from our lives, that we are still thankful for having existed and having been part of our lives. Coming up tonight, you saw the promos. Netter will be sitting down with Corey from Wilkie's Movies and Music. Tomorrow's Liquid Lunch, of course, hopefully by Liquid Lunch tomorrow in the next 23 hours, I will have decided what I will be drinking Friday night. And we will talk about that tomorrow over lunch. And then, and I got to get on this because I've got to declare my specific choices. Friday's last call, Boomer and I will be talking about 3 each for each of us. We're picking 3 music videos that we loved and we want to talk about and share with you. We'll talk about the music, the videos, and the bands from our younger days, back when channels like MTV and VH1 played music videos, when Video Hits 1 and music television were exactly what, as the names implied, they were. And other than that, that's all I got for you today. I appreciate it. Keep an eye out for, I've got videos dropping 2 a day for the next couple days. Clips from Geeky Geezers. Some of y'all might not want to go and invest 2 hours in a news show, but maybe there's a single a single piece that you might want to take a look at. So check out those videos. Hit that like button, because again, every time a video comes out, I get at least 1 or 2 downvotes from the troll who's sitting at his computer waiting just to downvote my videos. So that is something else I would appreciate if you would do for me. Anyway, guys, I thank you all so much. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Get back to work. Take care.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.